Okay, good morning and good afternoon to all of you. Thank you so much for connecting to our CFS side event organized by the World Food Forum, FAO, the Youth Alliance for Zero Hunger, and the MGCY. We are really happy to have you here today, and I'm happy to introduce also our panelists that you can already see on the screen. Our moderator is having some issues connecting from Ghana, so I will start the event without her, and hopefully she can join us very soon. So our event is an event that we planned as a side event to the CFS to discuss about youth leadership for better and sustainable agri-food systems. And we wanted to talk about the launch World Food Forum that had a flagship event a few days ago, and how we can work for better youth leadership in the transition to more sustainable agri-food systems, and how we can also interact with the CFS in this view. We invited Mr. Maximo Torero-Cullen, who is the Chief Economist of FAO, to speak and deliver some opening remarks. Maximo, I give you the floor now, if that's all right for you.
Perfect, no problem. Thank you so much, and welcome all of you to this side event, Youth Leadership for a Better Food, the World Food Forum as a movement by youth and for youth to transform the agri-food systems. I'm delighted to take up this role to open this important and exciting side event to introduce the World Food Forum, WFF, which aims to be the primary youth platform and movement for agri-food system related youth issues, policy and initiative, but especially for agri-food system transformation that we are aiming to. We live in a critical times where we are in a need of change, yet the change cannot be made in a systems that does not evolve. And change cannot be made in a systems where still over 811 million people worldwide go to hungry every day and 3 billion people don't have access to healthy diets. And at the same time, our environment is facing significant challenges. So we need to completely reform and do a transformation of this agri-food system. And that's where we need everybody to play a role, and the youth, of course, will play a crucial role. The youth is in its different role in the agri-food systems as agricultural producers, workers, agripreneurs, and consumers, and is central around all the value chains and around all the systems that evolve this agri-food system. It is key today to enable the environment and the skills so that youth can effectively contribute to inclusive development and to a recovery process that will build back better in a more inclusive, fair, resilient, and sustainable way. This event is about youth leadership for a better food future. I would like to take this opportunity to reaffirm why it is absolutely crucial to bring the youth to the debate for the transformation of the agri-food systems. Youth are not only a priority group for development interventions, but they are also key agents of change with enormous innovation potential. The CFS HLP report 2021 promoting youth engagement and employment in agriculture and food systems, which was presented today by the HLP chair at the CFS plenary, shows that youth already are on the front line to shape the agri-food systems of the future, while also bring at risk some climate change, social and economic inequities, and political marginalization. Young women and men are best placed to rejuvenate the sector, acquire the knowledge and the skills needed to innovate, uptake new technologies, and spearhead the digital transformation. As all of you know, with COVID-19, digital transformation has accelerated enormously, and youth can be a driving force of change in this respect, and also can lead us through a transition to sustainable production and consumption patterns that are indispensable to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. In addition, youth can operate a bridge between generations and step up in the role of informing older generations of the behavioral change that needs to be done. I cannot reiterate enough the potential of the youth and leadership potential for the transition we are trying to undertake. We have evidence, solid evidence, that upward intergenerational mobility works. We have evidence also that youth can communicate and be a translator for people that don't necessarily have today the literacy capabilities that are needed, for example, to use digital technologies. And that's where they can play also a crucial role. Youth are already raising their voices, and they are part of several decision-making fora at the local, regional, and global level, such as the World Food Forum. However, they demand and need additional support. It's our responsibility to empower and support youth and to work with them to create an environment where they can thrive. It is time to talk about and include youth as equals in the formulation and implementation of rural transformation policies and programs that are tailored to the challenges they face. This goes not only to giving youth a seat at the table, but to go one step further and remove barriers to youth leadership in cooperative farmers unions and growing governance mechanisms too. In the past year, I witnessed this potential and saw the capacity of youth to take charge and lead the change through the launch and development of the World Food Forum. This exciting movement, powered by youth, was born out of an idea raised from the FAO Youth Committee, and the idea of creating a global platform for youth and by youth was nurtured, evolved as an initiative, and expanded as a movement with nourishing partnerships, strategic alliances, and visionary youth leadership. Indeed, it has been an inspiring journey to see so many wonderful young people from around the world have come together to make a change, and a change not only in their voice, a change in terms of technology, science, music, art, culture, all of which are central elements of food. The World Food Forum flagship event was from the 1st to the 5th of October of this year. The week-long 2021 flagship event of the World Food Forum has just successfully ended last week. And there were 65 total sessions hosted, including 14 master classes, 10 cultural experiences, 25 side events, with over 8,000 participants coming from around the world. More than 25 pre-events, youth roundtables and consultations in the month leading up to our flagship event. Music, film, video games, and hundreds of young entrepreneurs and researchers who have expanded our minds and the countless new connections that were made in the chats and the virtual gatherings. Diverse and productive discussions at the Young Farmers Roundtable, the Indigenous Youth Forum, and the Youth Action Assembly. I am convinced that all this excellent energy, spirit, and voices shared through the World Food Forum movement are the source of game-changing solutions for our food systems to bring better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life. We need to work together and to step up together to the challenge of transforming our agri-food systems, as I have mentioned before. It is essential that we include the youth today to address the challenges we are facing. We want their energy, their innovativeness, their ability to connect generations together, but we will be with them. They are not alone, and we will work with them. This session is the time for reflection. Let our youth leaders take us to their engagement for youth involvement in agri-food systems and through the WFF journey. Thank you very much for your time, and really I hope this movement links also with activities being done by CFS and all the leaders that are coming through CFS, so that we can keep expanding the movement of youth to support and to help all together the agri-food system transformation that we need. Thank you very much, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Maximo, for your kind words and for opening this event. I'm really delighted to say that in the meantime, our moderator, Rachel, has managed to connect and to join us. So Rachel, so happy to see you. We're happy that you can.
So happy to be here.
I let you maybe introduce yourself.
Sure. Thank you, Emma. Hey, everyone, I'm so glad. Oh, can you hear me? Ah, fantastic. Hey, everyone, I'm going to be your moderator today. I'm so excited to see all of you, excited to be hearing from all of you, seeing Cameroon, Italy, Germany, Kenya, everybody's in the chat. Maximo, brilliant as usual. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and for inspiring us and guiding us. So everyone, we're going to keep it moving. We have a Menti for you. If you have been coming to our events, you're familiar with Menti. If you have not, then there's the instructions right at the top. Go to menti.com and use the code 6721-6581 in order to answer this question. Your answers will be coming in live, and that's what we really, really want to see, because we want to hear from you, the youth. So go ahead and start submitting your responses. We're looking forward to seeing them. I'll be reading some of them as well. Awesome. Yes, the instructions are in the chat too, just in case you haven't used Menti before. Go ahead and answer this question. When thinking about youth leadership at the local level, which words come to your mind? I see change. Absolutely, absolutely. Me too. I see empowerment. Fantastic word. Love that word. It's a great word. Let me see which other words. Accountability, human rights, removing barriers, utilizing local knowledge, bringing communities, peasants' rights. Wow, removing barriers, SDG driven, innovation, potential, adapted to local context, inclusion, love that word, leadership, land redistribution, adaptation, fantastic, flexibility. The thing with mentees that it keeps moving, so I'm like, so many responses. This is fantastic. We're going to be keeping track of these words and also making sure that we have them to reference later on. So curiosity, absolutely, a conducive environment, fantastic, food sovereignty, yes. From farm to fork, yes, my favorite kind of way to eat. Absolutely. Synergy, education, leaders, community, love, love, love all of these. I mean, I knew you guys were brilliant, but now everybody knows. So happy you're here. Community-based impact, that's powerful. Indigenous knowledge, let them know. Absolutely. Local development, dynamic, youth as implementers, fantastic. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. This is wonderful. Thank you all for sharing these. I see more change. Yes. Yes to all of this. Yes to all of this. Absolutely. Yes. This is fantastic. Adapted to local context. Committed. That's a great one. Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. Great. Thank you, everyone, for your responses. Deep understanding. I would like you to also drop in the chat which words impacted you the most. Drop in the chat which ones that you saw from your peers impacted you the most. I'd love to see that. Yes. Fantastic. All these great responses, connecting individuals. I see, oh, my head is like, food sovereignty, empowerment. Yes. Wow. Youth as planners. Exactly. We have so much planning to do because we have so much ahead of us. Isn't that crazy? Crazy. Wow. Determination. I love that. Action for change. Yes. I think we can do one more minute. Innovation, dreams. That's a big one. Love dreams. Big fan of dreams. Yes. Awareness, agroecology. I'm going to need somebody to explain that to me properly because it sounds intense and fantastic. Wow. Love these, love these. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. We're going to, of course, record and keep track of your responses so that we can reference them later on. Thank you so much for sharing them with us. You all are amazing, and I'm just privileged to be in your presence. Entrepreneurship in the chat. Yes, love it. So, you all know about the World Food Forum by now. We would hope. If you don't, then I guess you'll be learning more about it today. But you must also be wondering how we got here, right? How did the World Food Forum come about? We hope that you'll be inspired by this video of our WFF journey that we're about to play. Let us know your feedback in the chat. We want to hear from you. So we're going to go ahead and play that video for you, and we hope you'll be inspired.
We saw a problem. 811 million people are hungry. Actually, we saw many problems. The COVID-19 pandemic, 1.3 billion tons of food lost or wasted, pests, conflict, and climate change. We're adding to this global food crisis. Inheriting this world is not acceptable. We needed to take matters into our own hands. We needed to think big. We needed to disrupt the status quo. It was time for us youth to take control of our future. And for the first time, we would be in the driving seat. The FAO Youth Committee began to brainstorm. To solve these big problems, we needed something massive. But how could we get the world to listen? How could we incite action? How could we find innovative solutions? How could we transform the way we worked? And how could we build a better food future? More than an idea, we needed a movement, and we needed energy to power that movement. We knew we had energy, but we were just a few. We needed more. From every corner of the world, we needed to tap into the energy of the billions of young people around the planet. We asked, what if we could create a global platform that could empower youth everywhere? And we thought, let's do it. We have to try. The stakes were too high to let our energy go to waste. The World Food Forum was born in 2020.
Because this is not a talk, it's an idea, an insight, the building block of change. Think about it. Everything comes from an insight. Everything. This meeting was born as a fresh thought in someone's mind. Your presence here, my dear, is just a consequence of you being still enough to hear and know how to follow up on an idea. And so, if everything comes from an idea, a fresh thought, so will a new world. And you, young leaders and change makers, are here to be vessels and bring new ideas to life.
It started with a few voices speaking out, with a vision of what could be possible.
Good afternoon.
It started when people took a moment to listen. Youth leaders, musicians, scientists, influencers, experts, institutions, and business leaders heard our call. And soon, those few voices turned into a chorus, and that chorus became a roar. Our numbers quickly began to grow. We took our ideas to our colleagues. We built a website. We started hosting research competitions, startup awards, masterclasses, and youth consultations. It wasn't always easy. We got tired. We had moments of overwhelm, but we remained committed. The passion of our fellow volunteers renewed our energy when we got tired. We knew we could do this, and we are doing it. The 2021 World Food Forum flagship event was powered by hundreds of volunteers, dozens of partners, and reached tens of thousands of people in all regions of the world. We had more than 25 pre-events, youth roundtables, and consultations. And this past week, we hosted over 65 total sessions, including 14 masterclasses, 10 cultural experiences, 25 side events, with over 6,000 participants coming from around the world. But more, we have made a concrete difference. We found innovative research projects. We found promising startups and helped them scale up their ideas. We held a youth action assembly and came up with clear priorities and actions to transform our food systems, starting now. We hosted Junior World Food Day, making sure that no one, no matter how young, would be left behind. We have started something that is bigger than ourselves. We have created a space where change is possible, where breakthroughs can happen, and where ideas become action. We have created a place where all youth voices can be heard. In this fertile ground, we are growing the future that will nourish us all. This is the World Food Forum, powered by global youth. The movement has only just begun, so join us.
Wow. Are you guys close to tears? Me too. Okay. Looking for company. Go ahead and drop in the chat what stood out to you about the video. We would love to hear that feedback from you. Yes, vision, innovation, transformation, love from Rizka. Thank you guys. And someone said food waste is time for youth to take control of the future, the need for a movement and not just an idea. Youth have to take thoughts to ideas and bring ideas to life. Innovative research projects came up. Fantastic. I want to hear more from you. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for just sharing this moment with us. And shout out to the World Food Forum team, everyone who has been involved, who has been volunteering, who has supported us. You guys are everything. All right. So you saw all the work that went into this, and I'm sure you want to meet some of the people who were doing that work and who are doing that work in order to end hunger, decrease food waste and food insecurity in the world. So it is my privilege and my absolute pleasure to let you know that you are going to be hearing from some of the leading youth activists and workers and volunteers and just brilliant people from around the world who are committed to the same cause that you are passionate about. All right. So the CFS is the foremost inclusive international and intergovernmental platform for all stakeholders to ensure food security and nutrition for all. Right? Everybody knows this, more or less. The World Food Forum and other youth constituencies are vital game changers for the transformation of agri-food systems. The critical role of youth and its initiatives for agri-food systems has been highlighted as one of the key takeaway messages of the first World Food Forum flagship event. So speakers who are coming up, and I'll of course introduce you as you come on. How would the World Food Forum, youth constituencies, and the active members of the CFS mutually benefit from information sharing and co-creation of visions, as was based on this year's high-level political event report, as reported by the HLPE chair at the CFS plenary? So, I know it's going to be hard for you to keep track of these questions, but I'm going to lay it out there for you. And if you who are also here joining us have answers to the question, go ahead and drop them in the chat. The first question is going to be, we are 1 week after the World Food Forum and a few weeks past the UN Food Systems Summit. What are the outcomes and takeaways from the World Food Forum? Okay, so that's one question. 2 is looking to the path ahead of us. What can the WFF tracks, among others, provide as a value to the work of the CFS open-ended working group on youth? Number 3 is how do the World Food Forum and youth constituencies, for example, the Youth Alliance, MGCY, Indigenous Youth Forum, expect to be engaged in the CFS youth workstream? And lastly, concretely, what are the avenues for young people to support grassroots level initiatives and have a seat at the policy table? So it's 4 questions. The first question is basically, what are the outcomes and takeaways from the launch? Second question is, what's next for the World Food Forum and how can we work with the CFS? The third question is, how do we expect to be engaged with CFS youth workstream? And lastly, what are avenues for young people to get involved? The first amazing person I'm going to introduce, I wonder if he knows it's his turn. He's pretty awesome. You guys will learn. It's Mr. Jim Leandro Cano. He's the chair of the Youth Alliance for Zero Hunger. Jim, welcome. I'm so happy to see you again.
Hi, Rachel. Nice to see you too.
So we'd like you to speak a bit on the high-level political event report and CFS topics and priorities, and then talk about the role of youth for agri-food systems transformation. And also, if you can, which I know you can, link it to the work of the Youth Alliance for Zero Hunger. So let us know a bit about that.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Rachel, and thank you to the World Food Forum and also the other partners here, of course, co-organizing this event. I think this has been a whirlwind of, so it's been a momentum that's been gaining over the past few months from the time of the end of the summit, and then taking it up with the World Food Forum, and then now with the CFS, and also the launch of the HLPE report, which I had the privilege of being part of the writing team. And
Wow.
So the I think what's really crucial, I mean, just to start off as an anecdote and to kind of keep it light, is that 3 years back, in 2018, during the discussion on engaging youth, retaining and attracting youth in agriculture back in CFS 45, there you wouldn't have found at least, as many alliances around youth in food systems as today. And
Right.
so I think that's a beautiful thing, that we see the dynamism, the plurality of young people being fleshed out in all these alliances and networks and constituencies that are pushing for youth priorities, youth agenda in agriculture and food systems. And so I link that to, I wouldn't go into the in-depth discussion of the HLPE, as that was already done earlier during CFS plenary, but really drawing from the 4 pillars that we wrote in the HLPE report, is that young people to be engaged and employed in food systems, is that we have to recognize that young people have rights, agency, equity, and have to be recognized in all those areas
Absolutely.
in food systems. And so it's very crucial that we take this as the foundation of all the other activities, all the other agenda and policy that we wish to push for, all the initiatives that we want to roll out. It has to be crucial that it has to be founded on those, that young people are rights holders. They are responsible also in their own food systems, locally, regionally, and globally. And that in the same manner, they have to be recognized that what they see, what they want to see in their future, in their future, is made possible because of the enabling environment. And so I jump quickly from those pillars to also looking at that young people's aspirations, based on their context, based on their family, their culture, their, whatever background they come from, has to be recognized, has to be given equal access to opportunities in food systems. And I think what's very crucial and what's very interesting to see with the development of all these conferences and summit and talks, is that we see that people are now talking about it. When
Absolutely.
before 6 years ago, when I started in the youth ag space, you rarely find senior experts recognizing young people in these kinds of discussions. And now we see the change in an environment where young people are now taking the lead, where young people are now creating the table themselves, where decisions are to be made. And I think that's something that needs a more push. Beyond 2021, we have to see that all the talks from 2021 will be fleshed out into action on the ground. And so it's not enough for us to, say, okay, we've done this event, we've held this much talks, we've held this much conferences. That's it. We've checked a tick. We've ticked a box already and say, oh, we've already done youth engagement. No, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, and we're just scratching the surface of what it really means to engage young people. And so what's really crucial is that we look at the aspirations of young people, and then we create the policies that create the environment to enable young people to access these opportunities, for young people to have their ideas in how they want to see agriculture, how to produce food in the way they want to, and to have the tools, the resources, the knowledge, and the adaptive technology for them to have access to all those, so that they can create food systems the way they want to. You know, young people have different views, different beliefs, and I think it's beautiful to see the plurality of young people being fleshed out. You know, young people in urban spaces would have to look at urban agriculture models. In the countryside and rural areas, we will push for agroecology and the practice of regenerative agriculture. And then in areas where we want to ensure that the impact towards the environment is reduced, some young people would look at precision agriculture as a way to go forward. And I feel like what's really crucial from the policy products of the CFS, the engagement at World Food Forum, and then the discussions from Food System Summit would lead to creating environments, policy incentives, pushing for supportive markets that would bridge young people to the necessary markets, bring livelihoods, meaningful livelihoods, where young people are not exploited simply because they are young people, that we're not saying, okay, we're going to pay you only this much because you're a young person with no experience, yada, yada, yada. But we're saying that because you deserve this wage, we will pay you this wage. And I feel like that's the kind of future that we want to see, with young people being engaged, being employed in food systems. And so I will not again go into the discussions of the HLPE as that's been done, but linking that to the context of what we're looking at for this side event on youth leadership is that the enabling environment is very crucial. And I'm very thankful that platforms like World Food Forum are coming into the fore, that youth constituencies are starting to work together. You know, I wouldn't have met Pramisha had it not been for UN Food System Summit. I wouldn't have met WFO had we not, talked about Youth Alliance for Zero Hunger, taking in to work with other organizations. And so I think that's the beauty of this space, is that we're starting to recognize more people and that we're in the same cause and we're not against each other. And I feel like it's crucial to bring that step forward into multi-stakeholder partnerships among young people, and then bring all these talks into action on the ground. I'm going to end there, and I know a lot of my colleagues still have more to say, but really just want to emphasize on those points.
Yes, Jim, epic mic drop. I love it. I also love that, because my first name is Rachel with an R. You brought in 3 important R's, rights, responsibility, and recognition, and you brought in even one more, is resources. So thank you so much, Jim, for your passion, for your work. So Jim said he would not have met Pramisha without the World Food Forum. I also would not have met Pramisha without the World Food Forum. Everyone here would not have met her. And I'm telling you, my life is so much better as a result of her. She is inspiring. She is amazing. She is a trailblazer. So I'm going to introduce you. You now have the privilege of meeting Pramisha because of the World Food Forum. You're welcome in advance. To Pramisha Tavilaya. She's the SDG 2 focal point and major group for children and youth, for the major group for children and youth. She's also a very integral member of this whole thing. So thank you, Pramisha, for being here. We would like to hear you speak on the work of the MGCY and work around the Youth Action Assembly and Compendium of Action, as well as the outcomes of the WFF regarding that and the way forward from now. Yeah. And anything else you might want to add, everything you say.
Sure. Thank you, Rachel. I'm always pleased to sit in the session where you moderate. Jim also said his thoughtful insights with the concrete intervention. So I think you covered it all, Jim. And it is a pleasure to be here with you all today. I want to thank the World Food Forum team and also CFS Secretariat for this opportunity. And I'm happy to represent the major group for children and youth, which is simply known as MGCY in the youth space. For those of you who do not know about MGCY, we are the formal and the self-organized mechanism for young people to meaningfully engage in short-term event processes, basically high-level political forum and eco-circuit forum. And our main objective is to act as a bridge between the young people and the UN system in order to ensure that their rights to meaningful participation is realized. So how do we do this? We strive to achieve this goal by engaging formal and also the informal communities of young people in the design, implementation, monitoring, follow-up, and review of sustainable development policies at all levels. And there are different working groups and constituency within MGCY, and SDG2 is one of them. We have been engaging actively in different food systems and agriculture processes, including the different programs like Inclusive Rural Transformation and Gender Equity Division of FAO, Food System Summit, World Food Forum, and many other processes. And while doing this, not only as a passive stakeholder, but also asking critical questions and challenging to change the status quo in various processes. In this respect, I want to highlight that the young individuals engaged in these avenues, as well as youth constituencies like us and platforms like World Food Forum, all could be an important stakeholder in the key processes like CFS, since we already said that it is the foremost inclusive international and intergovernmental platform for all stakeholders to ensure food security and nutrition for all. So we as young people look forward to engaging with different groups within CFS, including the key group, which is civil society mechanism, and youth group within it. Together we become stronger, since we can't dream to change the system by acting alone. In the morning session of CFS, we also witnessed vibrant discussions around HLP report on promoting youth engagement and employment in agriculture and food systems. And recently, Jim also highlighted some important points telling the young people are right holders. So I think it is extremely crucial for us to work together to make this HLP report a reality. Okay, let's go back to the World Food Forum event, where with different constituencies, organizations, and FAO colleagues came together at World Food Forum and conducted the Youth Action Assembly, where we presented the first draft of the Youth Action Compendium, governance mechanism, and action plan on how we can mainstream all the youth voices and work in agri-food systems transformations. In this work, we have synthesized different youth priorities coming from different processes to provide a repository and reference tool of priorities from youth, and use these as a guide to gather actionable solutions, to guide projects and report on them. But this is just a start, and we count on you to continue this. Every young person interested can join the working groups. I request my colleague Emma to share the link in the chat and how to join the working groups. And we'll polish this process with the course of time, and not just keep this as a beautiful piece of paper or report, but use this as a tool to guide the action on the ground. Having said this, we're also looking at how to bring all the already existing outcomes and solutions from different programs and processes. During the Youth Action Assembly, one of the priority demands was education on agri-food systems, which World Food Forum is striving to increase the awareness and education, followed by food as the foundation of all the priorities, and also an improved access to resources, which Jim also highlighted before. To guide this action and action compendium, we have a governance plan with a vision to make the World Food Forum an institutionalized platform to support this great youth engagement with recognized legitimacy, while bringing all stakeholders together and working with them. So we invite everyone to join us in making this shared vision a reality. So our ultimate vision is to empower youth and make them co-leaders of sustainable agri-food systems transformation, with the collaboration of all entities like bodies like MGCY, Youth Alliance for Zero Hunger, organizations like YPAD, EAS, IFSA, and everyone. On the top of that, we cannot achieve our goal if we don't engage meaningfully with CFS. And the side event today, this event is a great start. And we look forward to work together with CSM and CFS through open-ended working group of youths and also in the actual policy table, so that we can serve the thousands and millions of young people working on ground, ranging from farm to academia, to achieve food security and also transform the agri-food systems, which is our main goal. So this is all. Thank you, Rachel. Back to you.
Thank you, Parmeesha, for all your hard work. I just want to say I love the passion in the chat, seeing a lot of messages, panelists. There's some questions coming in already, so get ready for those. It's pretty intense in here, and I love that. We need the intensity. Fantastic, fantastic. All right, so up next, we have another amazing young person who is going to blow your minds as usual. Would like to introduce Khushbu Singh Suraj. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I've been trying to practice over here. If I didn't, please let us know how to pronounce it. But she's a young farmer and project coordinator, the Farmers in Agriculture, Livestock Cooperative and Organic Network. So we'd like to hear about the report on Young Farmers Roundtable and its outcomes, as well as possible ways forward.
Thank you, Rachel, for such an amazing introduction. So for those who don't know about FAC Association, so it stands for Farmers in Agriculture, Livestock, Cooperative and Organic Network. So in fact, we tend to represent the voices of the local farmers here in the Republic of Mauritius and connect them to our international affiliations. Thank you, the World Food Forum team, the World Farmers Organization, and other farmers organizations that have made it possible for us, the young farmers, to present our thoughts and some possible ideas that can be converted into actions, so to empower the youth into agriculture. So I'm very pleased to share the outcomes from the Young Farmers Roundtable, focusing on the generational sustainability of family farming. Of course, we should not forget that we are having a problem of aging population among the farmers, while at the same time, the youth, they are getting even more challenges like in agriculture, such as access to natural resources, financial instruments, and also some disadvantages, living conditions in rural areas. So for more valuable and sustainable agri-food system, these obstacles have to be removed from the young farmers pathway. And for that, we need enabling policies and interventions. In this context, I would like to now present the outcomes that we have discussed. First is the advocacy. We need to advocate for the youth-targeted and youth-adapted responses at global, national, and local level to build enabling policies, legislation, and regulation, and ultimately construct financial instruments which will provide the preconditions for the youth to engage in farming, and also facilitate the maintenance and operation of valuable farms. For that, we have to connect the cooperative institutions, grassroots organizations, so that we can create solutions to make this action possible. There is more institutionalized ways to work together, and here were some examples that I've just mentioned about the cooperative institution. Another important aspect were the relevance and further needs for continued capacity development and mentoring programs. For example, we have on sustainable agricultural practices, like we've mentioned earlier in the introduction, which was agroecology. This is a very important aspect in farming now, considering the climatic changes. We have sustainable business models, value chain, markets, and cooperatives to sell together on the use and dissemination of inclusive technologies and digital tools. Other aspects for capacity development needs of a youth are to strengthen their leadership roles, to learn to apply the international instruments and lessons from already existing conducive policies for young farmers, to know how to better position in the policy dialogue and to better communicate in the kinds of solution which the young farmers desire. Indeed, attention should be given to programs that are also accessible by the young women. And I want to seize this opportunity to congratulate the World Farmers Organization, because they are providing such capacity building programs that are allowing us, the youth, to develop our leadership skills and to be present here to deliver ideas that would be eventually converted into actions. Another important aspect was the need to reinforce the capacities of young farmers and guarantee their participation in the elaboration and implementation of a national action plans and other policies in the framework of the UN Decade Family Farming. There is also a need to ensure that the plans and policies in the framework of the UN Decade Family Farming is made in synergy with the participation of a rural youth and contains strategies to support the development in family farming. We, as young farmers, highlighted the need to join forces and communicate clearly to government to build youth-inclusive agri-food system. And finally, there is a need to continue exchanges like the dialogues that are being held in the framework of Youth Farmers Forum team. And it is very relevant to strengthen the dialogue and exchange among the young family members and therefore contribute to a greater collaboration and coordination in the favor of rural youth in the framework of a United Nations Decade Family Farming. Indeed, there is a need to support the youth and ensure the general sustainability of family farming. And as Jim mentioned earlier on, we, the youth, have a right and equity. We are accountable for our actions, but what we need more is the support from government institutions, policymakers that will enable that will provide, in fact, an enabling environment for us youth to operate, to be motivated, to engage in agricultural actions that's going to build up a better future for us. Thank you for your attention.
Awesome. Shout out to all the young farmers in the world. Kushbu, you're doing amazing work. And I just want to also call attention to what you said, that we need people to provide us with the platform and the opportunities to do this work. So fantastic. Thank you for that so much. We're very inspired. I'm going to need some farming tips as well, Kushbu. Yes, we'll talk. For all the people who are dropping questions in the chat, please use the Q&A function so that we don't lose them with all of the comments. We want to make sure we answer and address every single one of your questions. Also, for those who are not aware, we are dropping the bios of the panelists in the chat. So yeah, it's almost impossible for me to tell you how amazing they are, but you can read it in the comments because yeah, they're doing great work and they deserve to be recognized for it. Up next, I would love to introduce Jessica Vega Ortega, who is the co-chair for the Global Indigenous Youth Caucus and 2021 United Nations Food Systems Champion. Welcome, Jessica. Thank you for being here with us. We would love if you could share with us the report on the Indigenous Youth Forum and the Global Forum for Indigenous Youth, and let us know ways forward, like next steps.
Thank you so much to Badi Quindo, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much as an Indigenous youth leader in the collective, regional, and global space. I appreciate the invitation. Yesterday for Indigenous people from Latin America was another day of the resistance. That's why when the Indigenous youth speak of the future, needed also to tell about the future when the system is healthy, resilient, and sustainable world. This is the priority for the indigenous people, try to speak the transversal issues above the human rights. It's talking about the reinvention practice and also the colonizing process when the favoring methods basis of human rights, appropriation of the biomass, cultural relevance, when the social policies and rethinking the forms of the structures, guarantees of the demanders on the part of the practice. This is the one that think in the Global Forum for Indigenous people and the younger people try to say that, to try to engage with the other platforms. Because the more important is also the protection of the Mother Earth. Indigenous people speaking of the food is also our identity, told about this. When the youth had the many challenges, including the continued urges and the state to take actions, they having in courses the values food system, for example, in students' plans, revealing the resilient knowledge and traditional knowledge is an emergence. Indigenous youth must not lose the deep relation with the lands, culture, and identity. And yet is also urgent to strengthen the professional techniques, capacities. That is the contribution for the transforming agri-food system, because maybe if we try to combine the knowledge when traditional knowledge and when new knowledge, the indigenous people, youth can see other opportunities. Our food continues to train us, but if food is not human rights, and then is just the one privilege will continue to be only for few people. Society must learn to the thinking about transversality, because when they talk about the environment and not about talk about the human right, it's like they're talking about the gardening. And talking about the food, if we not talking about, for example, the laboral protection, if it's not about the healthy, if it's not about the protected of the Mother Earth, it's only talking about the buying one organic apple in the supermarket. And this is not equal, it's just privilege. That is why when the urgent that we put fundings in actions, we make an innovation proposal reality, is strengthening capacities for youth people, indigenous youth people, and try to put in action on the women's. Is the seeking those national policies strengthening in the human rights. As a network indigenous youth and from Latin American and Caribbean, we are working to make this project proposal come true. So invite you to join us achieving more from the one or the two projects. It's maybe the possibility try to make it good practice from the people in the local communities, because the more urgent action is the local and national levels. The future begins every day. That's why I thinking with short working collectively. I am grateful because even when they have a lot of barriers, the indigenous youth and youth people try to work together, but need more than this, need the the commitment for institution, for the agencies, for the states, for all the people in the world, because this Mother Earth is for all the people here. Need more commitment, and this is the more important action now, because the future is every day. Thank you so much for attention.
Oh, I was definitely clapping. Mil gracias por compartir su trabajo con nosotros y por animarlos a hacer lo mejor. Mil gracias por todo. Thank you so much for everything, for inspiring us and for your work. It's really, really amazing. I am inspired. So, everyone, I know you're like, there can't be more. There is more. There's more amazing stuff. And thank you for everyone in the chat. There's so much going on and I love it. And I love the responses and the questions. But we've just heard from Jessica Vega. Thank you, Jessica. Gracias otra vez. And now I would like to introduce Carolina Pulido Ariza, who is from the Innovation Track. She's a co-lead of the Innovation Track, actually, for the World Food Forum. So Carolina, hey Carolina, tell us a bit about the objectives, outcomes, and actions of the World Food Forum Innovation Track. We'd love to hear from you on that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brown. And I don't know how I'm gonna go after Jessica. That was incredibly powerful, but I will do my best. So as you just said, my name is Carolina Pulido Ariza, and I'm a marketing and outreach specialist at the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. But besides that, I'm a researcher and a firm believer that science is a key driver of sustainable development. This belief pushed me over 1 year ago to join the World Food Forum, and particularly take the role of the co-lead of the World Food Forum Innovation Lab. This is what I'm here to share with you today, the vision that brought it all together and how, through the empowerment of a group of young volunteers, we are fueling agri-food systems transformation through research and innovation. As Mr. Toledo said, we live in unprecedented times. That's no secret. 2020 showed a very sharp increase in world hunger, with up to 811 million people facing it. This is unacceptable. As youth, and let me please include myself in that group, we are many times hardest hit by this situation. For example, the HLPE most recent report on youth and agri-food systems showed that unemployment rates for youth are 3 times higher than for adults in all regions of the world. And a vast majority of unemployed youth are young women. Our generation didn't ask for this. We were born in a world that already was facing critical threats, such as climate change, deforestation, conflict, chronic hunger, and malnutrition. Too many issues coming together all at once from all directions, which made the thought of doing something to fix it daunting, but the thought of not doing anything at all unbearable. So this is the force that moved us to take action. We thought, if we want to create agri-food systems that are more resilient against fast-changing threats such as the pandemic, that are more ecologically and economically sustainable and more inclusive for all, something had to change. We moved into the driving seat and reached the conclusion that to undo the damage that was done before and build from the ashes, we could not continue with the same thought patterns and actions that put us in this situation in the first place. We must build back better, stronger, differently. There are 1.8 billion young people in the world, which is the largest generation of youth in history. With such changing demographics, youth holds an enormous potential for change and positive action. And most importantly, with such demographics, we must have a say in the future of our planet. And so we decided not to be afraid to speak up, and through the World Food Forum, we found a platform that was eager to listen. The World Food Forum empowered us to be co-creators of the future we deserve, the one that we will inherit. Today's youth are more geographically mobile and technologically connected than ever before. And this is what we had in mind when created the World Food Forum Innovation Lab. With strong ambitions, we launched 2 challenges, organized boot camps, and hosted masterclasses as a tool to share knowledge across borders and different subjects in collaboration with a broad range of partners. We worked our best to ensure geographical and gender balance and categorize the solutions we wanted to see across FAOs for better. So better production, better nutrition, better environment, and a better life. In total, we received over 3,800 applications across the 2 challenges with geographical and gender representation, which is proof that there is no lack in youth ideas across borders and gender. One of the initiatives that makes me the proudest as a researcher is that we launched the first ever Transformative Research Challenge, a novel youth-led initiative that provides young researchers with mentoring and visibility to help them advance knowledge and translate their ideas into concrete solutions. As youth, we also understood that we didn't have all the answers. So we reached out to experienced researchers and got their support either in the reviewing process or mentoring the teams. And to our delight, we were met with willing and empowering experts who were ready to share their know-how voluntarily. This is the spirit that the World Food Forum aimed to achieve. And while many reports state that women are not well represented in science, I am extremely proud to share that the first and second place were given to 2 brilliant young women who submitted innovative solutions in the better environment and better life categories. We will now be sharing in the chat all about their groundbreaking research so you can take a good read about it. But besides research, we also wanted to highlight the entrepreneurial spirit and launch the very first World Food Forum Startup Innovation Awards powered by the Extreme Tech Challenge, featuring startups that were all led by young entrepreneurs. Their innovative solutions were breathtaking. They range from leveraging solar energy and water to sequester and valorize CO2, to delivering an AI-driven markdown optimization solution for fresh food in supermarkets. But I have to say that I was touched and humbled the most by our fellow volunteers, most of them young women as well, who gave their precious time, energy, and hope to these initiatives, who dared to dream that a better future is possible, and who went beyond dreaming. They took matters into their own hands and made this dream a reality. One of the last things that I would like to share with you today about the Innovation Lab is that it fostered intergenerational synergies and partnerships to boost and maximize the potential of young innovators. I am here to encourage each and every one of you to keep building those synergies, as they are the path to creating new and better solutions to make sure that nutritious foods reaches every man, woman, and child everywhere. To conclude, let me just reiterate that the ingenuity of global youth is one of our biggest resources. Let's use it. Let's keep on facilitating youth in science and innovation and listening to their voices, our voices. These will allow us to gain credibility and self-confidence as change makers, creating a snowball effect and ultimately achieving the kind of change in mindset and behavior that is required to achieve agri-food systems transformation. So that is the challenge that I bring to my fellow youth around the world today. Speak up, take action, innovate. Let's claim the future of our planet. It is ours to inherit and it is ours to create. So join us.
Ooh, Carolina, challenge accepted by all of us. Thank you so much for that. And we are so excited to see what they came up with. I'm sure it was mind-blowing. Happy for the representation as well. And I love that you said science is a key part of sustainable development. It's a fact. It's a fact. So thank you for all of your hard work. Thank you for your research. Thank you for your commitment to making the future better for everyone where food is concerned. All right. The chat is very, very active. Just wanted to remind you all, if you have questions, please submit it using the Q&A function so that we can all benefit from seeing the questions and the answers at the right time. And so panelists all have the ability to answer and respond to them. All right. Woo! It's so funny because Carolina was worried about following Jessica, but then Jessica killed it, Carolina killed it, And I would normally be worried about the next person, but I'm not, because it's Alina, who I know is going to kill it as well. Alina is education co-lead for the World Food Forum, and she is amazing. Alina, welcome. We would like to hear a bit about the objectives, outcomes, and actions of the WFF education track. So go ahead and share that with us. All in your hands.
Thank you so much, Rachel. It's so nice to see you, because you all must know that Rachel's one of our wonderful World Food Forum champions, and she has been doing and is still doing a very great job to raise awareness about the World Food Forum. So thank you, and right back at you, you're amazing as well. Okay, hello everyone. As Rachel was saying, my name is Alina and I'm a climate change and communication specialist at the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, and also part of the World Food Forum. Together with one colleague of mine, I'm leading the World Food Forum Champions program, but I'm also part of the education track. And today I will show you a little bit how the education track is structured, what the objectives are, what we have done so far, and what are the next steps. And I will try to keep it short, as we had a lot of activities. And as you have heard from Carolina, innovation is critical, and I think at this point also indispensable if we want to transform our agri-food systems in a sustainable way. But as you all probably know, transformation starts also in our mind, at a collective or at an individual level. Therefore, among communication, I guess the educational component is probably the most effective tool to raise awareness and drive change in our society. Because in order to solve the problems we're facing today, someone somewhere has to change and behave differently. That is why the education track of the World Food Forum is mainly looking into the behavior change insights that drive people to action and ideas into actual activities. Let me say that the education track is mainly built on 3 different pillars. So the first one consists of the Younger Labs that take example from the Scout Challenges badges, where young people need to go through different stages and activities in order to receive a final certificate. And we do this in a very playful way. So while learning, young people are also having fun. And we're currently advertising labs on nutrition, agriculture, plastic, biodiversity, because as you know, all the issues we're facing are somehow intertwined, and just tackling all of the problems together, we can really make a change and resolve the problems we're having today. And we are mainly targeting within the Younger Lab activity school children from 6 to 12 years. So basically a very delicate moment in which the mindset of young people starts to define itself. So the idea behind this is to start raising awareness for sustainable behavior, or how we call it also green living, at the youngest age possible, because we all know that the older we get, the harder it is also to modify our behavior and to let go of our bad habits.
Absolutely.
The first Younger Lab on energy will take place in November, and the other one will follow, because as you know, the World Food Forum is supposed to be a sustainable platform that will carry on throughout the years. The second pillar of the education track builds upon actual behavior change sessions that look into the school food and nutrition angle. Those sessions are divided into teacher labs that try to build the capacity of teachers and transform them into catalysts of change. Then we have the youth to youth sessions, which would be very interesting also for you, that can be seen as a change storming forum to learn about behavior science and share ideas, innovation, success, but also failures, and how you can act with impact. And this forum will be the next activity planned under the education track and gives all of you the possibility to participate. So basically it shall provide you the opportunity to raise your voice, to share your ideas as young persons. This peer-to-peer youth-led exchange will generate practical guidance for practitioners, campaigners, as well as policy elements to feed into the policy recommendations that will follow. So basically, we will actually have something printed as a guideline that we can share. And important to say that these sessions focus also on the intergenerational aspects, because obviously seniors cannot ignore us anymore and the innovative ideas that young people can provide. But obviously also youth somehow needs to work together with seniors, as we can learn a lot of them and from their expertise, but also from their influence they have. And at last, we have the policy recommendation sessions, because it is increasingly evident that behavior science is a fundamental part of creating sustainable transition at the farm level to consumers. However, it's clear how to effectively use such methods is still unclear, and how it should be linked to policy choices and how it needs to be evaluated. So basically, this is something that the education track under the policy recommendation wants to figure out together with experts and young people. And during the flagship event of the World Food Forum, we held two major events under the education track. One was a masterclass organized together with the World Food Forum, FAO, and UNICEF on the topic revolutionizing food education in youth for more sustainable food pathways and what you can do to be part of the change. And we had some very interesting key messages that came out of this event, so that despite the multiple and well-known benefits of school food education, it's still not available in a lot of countries and in a lot of schools. Effective food education should provide plenty of hands-on opportunities to grow, prepare, taste, and talk about food. It should interact with the food environment. So also the environment component is very important, where you spend most of their time, for example, at home or in school. Children and youth should be the owners of their food learning journey. So they should be at the center of it and have a say in what they consider fundamental to learn for their lives. The other event we were holding was a Shark Tank on can children and youth really create impact in addressing the climate crisis, and also one of our World Food Forum champions was present, together with other young behavior change scientists from all around the world. And the main focus was to show how we can best balance civic action and individual changes in behavior to really achieve sustainable transitions, and what role can education play in accelerating change. And let's say that the outcomes of this event were quite enlightening. So basically, we figured out that we still need to provide a lot of information and policies, but also incentives that we can apply as behavior change science levers. So basically social influence, emotional appeals, choice architecture, and so on, to really create an impact and to change towards sustainable behaviors. Then obviously behavior change science is context specific and also bound to a certain cultural environment. So we need to consider this when we apply it. Behavior science is still a quite new field, so we need to do more testing, monitoring, and also evaluation of various different strategies when it comes to behavior change science. But despite the new area of work, behavior science insights can revolutionize the impact of our climate actions, and youth should be at the front and core of this movement. So basically, this is just very summed up, and then I invite all of you to get engaged and to get in contact with the colleagues from the education track, because I think this is a very important component, because you can start at a very young age and you can somehow form people's mind to live more sustainable. Thanks, Rachel. Back to you.
Thank you, Alina. I knew you wouldn't disappoint. I knew you wouldn't disappoint. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all of your hard work. Thank you to the panelists once again for being here, our amazing panelists who are killing it. And the chat blowing up as usual. Thank you to everyone who's contributing, everyone who wants to get involved, everyone who's here with the positive vibes. Love that. Thank you guys for being here. So now, as I said before, if you have questions or comments, please use the Q&A function as opposed to the chat, so that we can keep track of the messages, because there's a lot. So let's go on to questions and answers. Panelists, are you ready? You ready? Everybody ready? Yeah? More or less? Fabulous. All right. So here's the first question that I'm seeing. Is the World Food Forum working on involving youth in biodiversity conservation? Who would like to take that one? Anyone?
Yeah, I can take that one. And
Amisha.
I can also complement the other questions that are in the chat. I will again repeat that we have just started, and the group now is not the exhaustive group, and our demands and vision is not also exhaustive. So we have started, and we invite everyone to come together, to work together and bring the constructive suggestions, criticism, and everything that you need, so that we can reach the consensus and we can make our shared vision. So I invite everyone to come together. I have already shared all the critical documents in the chat. And there is also a feedback form. I have also shared the email address. So yeah, I invite everyone. That is my point for now. So
we are stronger together.
Yeah, for the biodiversity group also, we are very happy to have a working group on that. And we can have the biodiversity leaders in that. We can also work with other constituencies that are working on the biodiversity issues. So we are open to everything that you are saying right now.
Absolutely. And I just want to say great job to you guys again. I think a lot of people tend to see the finished product. They don't realize how much work and effort and time and stress and sacrifice goes into something like this. So we will take as much help as we can get. We are not perfect, but we are working towards a better food future for everyone everywhere. So if that is also your goal, then we are absolutely on the same team and we would love to work with you. All right.
Rachel, sorry if I may just compliment what Pramisha was saying. I think the question was really good because as we were also saying from the beginning on that everything is somehow interlinked and we cannot leave out biodiversity. And at the moment also the COP for biodiversity is happening, and under the education track we have one challenges badge that is tackling biodiversity, and we're currently collaborating with the Secretariat for the Convention of Biological Diversity. So basically the first step is made, and Pramisha is right, so we're open also to create new working groups also, let's say, for people that are a little bit older than 6 to 12 years old.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Love that. Does anyone else have anything to contribute? Good. I think that answers the question. That makes me very excited. I'm seeing a question from Nadia Lambeck, who has been blowing up the chat. Hi, Nadia. Her question is, will the World Food Forum be in the CFS discussion this afternoon and work with the CSM to defend the HLPE report? Oh, it's a long one. And its inclusion in the decision box. And she said the negotiation process starts today. I think that's the question. So will the World Food Forum be in the CFS discussion this afternoon? Anyone want to take that one? Jim.
Yeah, I could come in on that. And definitely, I'm trying my best to find the logistical arrangements to get into the plenary for that, to see how we can, as young people, I'm putting on my hat as a young person, and really as someone who has an interest in how we can get young people at the front seat of the policy table. I think it's very crucial for all of us different youth constituencies to come together and to defend those 4 pillars. I think there's so much sense in ensuring that the 4 pillars are the foundations of the policy convergence processes that take place from here on out. You know, I don't think it would make sense if we're going to talk about youth engagement and employment if we don't ensure that young people are recognized, that they have rights, that they have agency, that they have equity in the food systems that we are part of. And it's very crucial for us to be part of that. So I would encourage, you know, everybody else here, everybody on the panel, and I myself, I've been messaging some of the people behind the scenes to know how to get into the Zoom link so that we can come in and say that, you know, that young people want to stand with the 4 pillars, because that's the basis of all the engagement and employment in food systems.
Great. It seems like CSM came looking for something, and I hope they've got what they were looking for. This is fantastic. We are just stronger together, as we said. Anyone who is for a better food future for everyone everywhere is on the same team as the World Food Forum. So we are excited to be working towards this. And I see Pramisha and Jim will be there at the event later. So I'm excited to hear more about that and how it goes. Stronger together, of course. Any other questions? I'm trying to check the chat to see if there was anything that we missed that might not be in the Q&A section. Checking. Awesome. Oh, panelists, you guys were busy answering the questions in the chat. Wow, this is fantastic. Multitasking, shout out to you. This is great. Wonderful. All right, everyone. So I guess that's all of the questions for today. Oh, Tyler's looking for more. Tyler said, do panelists agree with CSM Youth that human rights and rights holders should be prioritized over the profit motive of corporations and young agripreneurs? Very specific question. I'm sure all of the panelists have their own opinions and thoughts on this, because a lot of panelists and everybody's entitled to their own opinions. But guys, do you want to answer really quickly?
Maybe I can come in and my colleagues can also complement. I think it's a specific question, but also very complex. But obviously, being a young person myself and being part of the World Food Forum, of course, we want to prioritize rights, and especially rights of young people. This is also the reason why we have built the World Food Forum from, let's say, from scratches. So I can assure you, yes, of course, we are in line with your ideas.
Awesome.
If I can come in quickly on that also, Rachel.
Great.
Yeah, definitely. I would say, of course, young people are rights holders. You know, I wear both hats as a, you know, as part of the HLP writing team, and also as a young person in the food system. And I would say, I would also point to the report that said that we look at the pluriactive roles of young people.
Absolutely.
We have to look at the plurality of young people, and we have to be able, as young people, to appreciate and accept the diversity of young people's perspectives. You know, coming from the global South, you know, I have my own context and background, and young people from the North would also have their own perspectives. And I feel like what's really crucial for young people in food systems to engage in meaningful livelihoods is that they are able to they are sustained in the work that they do in food systems, you know, that they're not exploited for the work that they do. And, you know, if for a young person to be able to sustain himself and his family farm is to mean to create profit, so that for him, they as a family farm kind of thrive in their own context, then that's for him or her and for them to explore. But I would really say that, of course, we would love to ensure that young people's rights are placed above the corporate, the interests of bigger stakeholders that somehow would try to dampen the rights of young people. And so what I would really say is that equity, that's where equity comes in, is that young people have equal footing in all of these things, and that young people will have that appreciation of the diversity of both young people as well. I hope that made sense.
Fantastic. That made so much sense. So much sense. Tyler, I don't think you were listening to Jim, but I hope you understood his response, and I hope that we can have more dialogue.
Quickly jump in, Rachel.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, of course, we have our shared vision, that is transformation of agri-food systems is our shared goal. And to achieve that goal, we have like smaller goals, right? And how do we achieve that shared goal is one of the biggest important question. And that's why these different constituencies, different platforms like the World Food Forum are here, because we don't want to move with the business as usual. We want to change the status quo. We want right-based approach. We believe in the human rights, because we all know that the current system does not support like fully the rights of the small-scale food producers, indigenous and marginalized communities. So we are making sure that we hear the voices of all those excluded groups right now. And how do we include everyone together, bringing the how do we ensure the rights of everyone together while achieving this goal is an important question. And that's why these platforms are here, to bring the solutions, to bring the conversation, and how do we move forward is the important question. And that's why we all are here together.
Fantastic. I'm happy. Tyler said, well understood. I'm happy. There's finally some understanding. That's great. Thank you, panelists, for your responses. I see 2 new questions, which are, what are the outcomes and takeaways from the World Food Forum for speakers and their tracks? I know we had touched on that earlier, but panelists, if you're able to type a quick response, that would be great for Thomas. And also, I'm seeing another question. Yay, Alina. Okay, go ahead, Alina.
Sorry, I'm confused. I raised my hand, or do you?
Oh, it says you were going to answer the question live, but it's okay. You can go ahead and type your response.
Okay, sorry. I can also write it in the chat.
Okay, fantastic. It's okay. Go ahead. Thank you so much. And yes, Parmisha is saying something that I absolutely agree with. We don't want to leave anyone behind. We need everyone together in this process. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. And Jim also said it's not to put one side above the other. It's to understand that youth, no matter what context they're in, are rights holders, whichever sector they belong to. So enabling environments need to be context specific so that youth needs are addressed at their own context. We are Team Youth. We are Team Better Food Future for everyone. That's the team that we're on. That's what we're prioritizing. So we have a lot more questions. Panelists, if you can, go ahead and answer in the Q&A section, because we have to keep it moving. You know, we're very passionate people, so we could be here all day, but we don't have all day. So we're going to keep on going, and we would like to close with a few remarks from Kazuki Kitauka, who is a coordinator of the World Food Forum. Kazuki, welcome. Thank you for staying on with us. We're excited to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Rachel, and thanks everybody, panelists and participants. And yeah, it has been my honor to be the coordinator this year for the World Food Forum in this initiation process, and the first flagship event, which we had just a couple of days ago on the 1st to the 5th of October. And I think I don't need to repeat anything. That it made it very clear in this session and also throughout the 5 days that we need a youth as a driving force for achieving the SDGs, as a driving force for agri-food system transformation. And for that, we need a conducive environment for youth to lead, to be able to lead this change at all different levels, whether it's local, regional, or global. And here comes really the core idea of the World Food Forum from the very start, to create a movement, an open and inclusive movement that can spark that change in a positive and concrete way, and to achieve the future that I think we all want to achieve, a better food future for all. And I think at the very beginning, and Rachel, so thank you so much for this little exercise with the world crowd, because it really showed that the expectations, even from this small group that is here in this in this side event of the CFS, was very clear. It's about innovation, it's about drive, it's about empowerment, it's about the future. And I think there's a big hope really that the vision of youth for a better food future is at the center of what we are talking about, and for which we are enabling this important new platform of the World Food Forum. And there was another quote, I think it was Jim who said that through this forum, youth were not just invited to the table, but they created the table. I think it was a quote that came actually from the forum itself, and I think that's quite important. It's not just going with the stream, going with one or the other party, or going with an interest group or another. It is about creating a table at which youth as rights holders come together and talk about the future they want. And I think that was really the spirit in which we came together at this first flagship event. And we really hope to bring even more and even more diverse views around the table as we go into the future. Now, what we have realized, of course, is that agri-food system transformation and the future of food is an extremely complex topic. It's a topic that can be discussed at many levels with many different stakeholders. The more local you go, the more localized also the solutions need to be. So we cannot, I think the solution discussion needs to be also diversified and distinguished in this way along the lines of local realities. And I think that also was reflected to a degree. I mean, we were saying 65 events during these 5 days of the World Food Forum, including this Youth Action Assembly, which is really a truly open platform for youth to come together from their communities with delegations from around the world, across sectors, across interests, across geographies, and discussed in this in these few days how we can do a first step. This was just the very first step in creating this platform, this table for young people, for young rights holders to talk about the future of food. And of course, two groups were specifically given a special interest table around this Youth Action Assembly. One was the young farmers with a Young Farmers Roundtable, and another was the Indigenous Youth Forum, which was coming together during these 5 days as well, and of course many masterclass, side events, etc. Finally, before I go there, everybody who is interested in visiting any of these sessions, this is all recorded, so you can all revisit them. You can listen to the various views that were expressed, and this is all on the World Food Forum website. So please, everybody, go there and take a look. And as a final point, perhaps from my side, is, and I think Kushbu said that really beautifully before, and what we saw at the World Food Forum flagship event as an overall desire from these almost 10,000 young people who came together was that we really would like to see constructive dialogue and that lead to concrete and pragmatic action that make a real transformative change and create an enabling environment for youth to be at the center of this big transformation that we need to do, this complex transformation that we want to see in our agri-food systems for a better food future for everyone, everywhere. So yeah, with this, please join us, and back to you, Rachel.
Awesome. Thank you, Kaz. Thank you, everyone who is here. Thank you to our incredible panelists for sharing your wisdom, your insight, and your passion with us today. It was truly a fulfilling experience. Hey, Maximo! Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you to everyone who is also with us on our journey to make things better for our world, for our youth, for food. And we appreciate you. We love you. We're grateful that you're here. We look forward to collaborating with you. We are all on the same team, on the same side. We all want the same things. And so let's get it. Let's make it happen. Thank you for coming, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. And thanks, Rachel. You did a great job, as always.
You're welcome. You guys did as well.
Thanks, Rachel.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Great job, everybody.
Thank you.